This video is going to be addressing what I like to call basic technique exercises. This is primarily for beginners, although people who are even more experienced and been playing for a while could probably stand to review the video just to see if there's anything helpful that they could glean from it. I'm going to start with the left hand. There's obviously two sections to this idea. You got the left hand and the right hand, and the whole idea is to get your hands acclimated to the things they're going to have to do to play the guitar. So we're going to start with the left hand. I'm going to move my phone over here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you're in ready position. If you don't know what that means, refer to the ready position video, but that's pretty much what I'm in right now. And you want your left hand to look pretty much like this. I've just arbitrarily picked a position on the neck, and I've went ahead and lined all four of my fingers up on the four adjacent frets. So I'm going to get this close so you can see. See, I've got the first string and all four of my fingers. You see where they are. You don't want this right here or this. You want every finger to have its own private fret all to itself. Preferably, you want your first finger to be as close to the fret as it could possibly be so that your other fingers can have an easier time lining up where they need to be. So once you've got this in place, let me get even closer. I apologize for my very low rent production values here. So once you got your fingers in place, you got to make sure that your fingers are arched, that your thumb is behind the neck, looking like that, right? Hyperextended, not like that. And certainly not over the neck like that, but right behind like that. Alright, so once you have that, then you basically start the exercise just by taking your first finger and going up and down just like that. See how I'm moving from the big knuckle? It's more important to focus on accuracy and precision than speed. Speed is really not important at all. Really, if you work on accuracy and efficiency, speed just happens. It's just a natural byproduct of efficient playing. So you want to make sure you're not doing this number here where you straighten your finger out. That's just a lot of wasted motion. All you need is the big knuckle. Don't want to be doing this here either, rocking. And make sure your other fingers are down and not moving as well, because they're working even though they're not working. By the way, some of you might have seen the chord push-ups video. This is very similar to that. But you know, really when you think about it, when you're playing the guitar, your left hand is going to be pushing down on the fretboard somewhere, so it's a good idea to get your left hand used to that. So once you've done this about 20 or 30 times, then you take your second finger, same thing. You see where I'm going with this now. I'm going to do 20-30 times or repetitions with this finger, again making sure that the other fingers are not moving at all. You know, not only are they not lifting up off the string, but they're also not collapsing like this, or they're not you know, pushing together or anything like that. They're all separate and able to move independently. Now, if you can't quite reach, scoot up the neck. You'll notice that the frets get closer and closer together the farther up the neck you go. It doesn't really matter where you start. Start in a position that's comfortable for you so that you can comfortably have every finger on its own private fret all to itself. So, you know, preferably try to find the lowest position you can still manage that. And if you can do it all the way down in the first position, well, that's great, because those are the four widest frets on the guitar. If you can do it here, you can do it anywhere. But I usually recommend everyone kind of start around the fifth position or maybe seventh position for the younger players with smaller hands, or especially the ones who have full-size guitars and their hands aren't fully grown into them yet. So, okay, so once we've done this exercise 20-30 times with each individual finger, by the way, you're probably going to have the hardest time with these two right here. The ring finger is a very difficult finger to isolate. It's kind of connected to your pinky, and it's kind of inhibited by your second finger, so it's very difficult to isolate it, and you're not going to be able to lift very far off the string, which is fine because you really don't need to lift very far off the string. None of these fingers should have to lift very far. You know, you don't need to be doing this. You just want to be, you know, lifting off and coming down. And your pinky is a very easy finger to isolate, but it's a very difficult finger to control. So you want to make sure you're keeping it arched and it's you not flying all over the place. So once you've done this exercise, every individual finger about 20-30 times, then you want to take a break, a couple minutes or so, and then move to both a different string and a different position. So I just did this on the 5th position of the 1st string. I'm going to go to, say, the 9th position of the 3rd string up here, and do the same exact exercise. Every finger 20-30 times each, and then once I do that, again, I'm going to take a little break. Maybe I'm going to go to the 4th position of the 5th string. Why do we want to go in every single position on every single string? Well, because they're different. No two strings are the same, no two positions are the same. There's advantages and drawbacks to every string and every position. Down here, for instance, the frets, of course, are wider, so it's farther of a reach for your fingers, but then the advantage is the tension on the string is very high, so it's not very easy to bend the strings. Up here, it's the opposite problem. The frets are very close together, which makes it very easy to reach, but the tension is very low. And I see a lot of beginners sometimes they'll start doing this exercise in higher positions, and they'll start working, and before you know it, this is what they got. You don't want that. You want to keep the string in a neutral position, so it's not bent one way or the other. So the string, and you can tell that because if the string looks closer to another string than the other strings look to each other, then you know that you're bending it. So all the strings should look equidistant from each other. If that's not happening, you're bending it. And if you bend the string while playing, you'll of course make the pitch go a little sharp. You'll hear this. Not very pronounced on a nylon string guitar. That's a little bit more, but steel string guitar, acoustic guitars and electric guitars, it's very, very pronounced. But anyway, regardless of how it is, it's just something you want to avoid doing. So do this exercise especially when you're starting out, about 5 minutes a day, just until your fingers get used to what it's going to take for them to work and do what they need to do on the guitar. Another thing that I've mentioned in another video is if you have a pencil, it's a good idea to get used to this. This is how your left hand's going to look when you're playing the guitar. Notice how my thumb is not bent like the other fingers, it's hyperextended. If you can do this with a pencil and walk around like this, maybe for a few minutes or hours a day, your left hand will get pretty used to its job pretty fast.